Well, I'm honored to be joined with author Michelle Griep. Michelle, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I'm happy to be
honored.
here.
So, okay, well, I kind of start off all these interviews by having you start by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Michelle Griep, as you have learned. I write historical romance, and I am originally from Minnesota. And what do I like to do? I like to read, of course. Reading and writing, that's kind of my jam. In my spare moments, though, I do like to rollerblade, of all things.
Wow, impressive.
Yes, I do like to pull the old blades out now and then. I love dogs. I have a boxer whose name is Ada Claire, which is my favorite Dickens character.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's a little enough for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and like, what other kind of books do you like to read?
Oh,
in your spare
I
time?
like to read a wide variety, but mostly I choose like historical, of course. But I'm also in a book club, and that really stretches me because every month a different reader picks the book of the month, and so I have read all kinds of genres.
Sure.
But I originally was a sci-fi nerd, so yeah, branched out to historical fiction and kind of stuck in that groove. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, can you kind of give a little, I guess, brief overview of your books?
I can, yeah. So it's a wide variety. So I started, of all things, with time travel. So went from, you know, the medieval age to Vikings, to wrote a few colonials set during French and Indian War, and then branched out to Regency and Victorian, and that's currently where I'm at right now. So, yeah.
Okay, that's always nice to have a little bit of a variety.
It is, but strangely enough, they all tie back to England because I am an Anglophile at heart. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've asked other authors this, but how do you kind of flesh out your character and maybe the journey that they're going to go on, or, you know, maybe the faith that they have? And
yeah, I'd say more often than not, my heroines obviously kind of are going through the same struggles that I'm going through at the time. So that's really where I work out my, you know, big God questions, theological issues, is in story. So I'm traveling right along with that heroine as she's doing her thing. Heroes, they're kind of fun because what I like about them is they can't be like 100% lovable. They need to have some kind of flaw, because I don't know any men that don't have a flaw.
so real.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I like to give them, every character needs to have both sides. Even the villains. The villains are not like 100% bad. They have to have something about, maybe they love kitties. I don't know, just something that can be a little bit, you can feel a little sympathetic towards them. So I like to make all my characters well-rounded. And even the secondary ones, I have fun with those.
Nice.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
And then, you know, being you do historical fiction, I'm guessing there's a ton of research that goes into it.
Oh, that's my favorite.
So what is the most interesting thing that you have found in your research?
Okay, so I've got, research to me is just another excuse to buy a book. So I have a lot of research books. And one of the things I had been researching recently, and is in one of my recent books and the sequel I'm working on now, is the undergrounds of London. So, I mean, that dates way, way, way back, even to like, you know, 1600s. They had the big plague pits and such. And so I was researching the underground, the subway, which was started to be built in 1860s. And there's sewers, of course, and there are two groups of people that were in the Victorian era you would find down in the sewers. You had your toshers and your flushers. So toshers were down there, they're the scavengers. So they're looking for things that went down the sewer and they could bring home to sell. And the flushers, there are still flushers today. There is still a team of flushers. They do exactly what you think the word means. They go down there and they clean out the blockages. So God love them, because I would not want that job.
No, I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, so if you're ever in London, just think about, as you're walking on the street, there's somebody below me. And
I don't want to know what's going on down there.
So yeah, that's kind of a little quirky bit of history.
Sure. No, I bet it is very fun to just kind of deep dive into, you know, just things that you've never known about before.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that's even where I get some of my story ideas, is just like, oh, like the Bow Street Runners series that I did. I just came across this short little news clipping that was 1750s, 60s, right around there. They were advertising they wanted 5 hardy and brave men to join the Bow Street Magistrate in hunting down criminals. And I thought, well, who would answer an ad like that? So that's where that idea came from.
Yeah. So, you know, what are some of the maybe stumbling blocks, or I don't know if stumbling blocks is the right word, but struggles that maybe you've encountered in your process of being an author?
Yeah, so I thought, when I kind of was prideful when I became an author and thought, well, how hard can it be? It's got, just write a story. So I just wrote a story, and of course that one will never get published, but the next one did, and then reviews started to come in, and they were great, but some weren't, and that was really hurtful. So I had to learn over the years to have a thicker skin and not like take everything so personally, because honestly, not everybody likes the same book, and that's okay, because I don't love a book that somebody else might love, and so I wouldn't write the same kind of review. So yeah, it's just learning to toughen up a little bit.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably good advice for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. All right. And so now, what do you have coming up?
All right.
Coming out next.
Coming out next is November 1st is Lost in Darkness. So this is the beginning of a new series called Of Monsters and Men. And it is, I kind of made up the inspiration for, why did Mary Shelley write Frankenstein? Where did she get her inspiration from to create such a monster? So she's a character in the book, and you'll have to read it to find out what was her inspiration to create that monster. And then, so that comes in November, but currently what I'm writing is a sequel to The Thief of Blackfriars Lane, which is where I researched out all the sewers. And that is The Bride of Blackfriars Lane. So there are more shenanigans in store for those two characters.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for
you.
joining us. And like I said to other people, thanks for sharing your gift of writing to everybody, you know. And I read to escape reality kind of sometimes, and it's so nice to go on a journey somewhere, and you know, and so thank you for creating that journey.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for sharing the book love. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Thanks.